Hello everyone, I am Bachaspati Dhaneshwari Sharma. I am an English teacher of class 9 and 10. Welcome to the class, my dear students. Today we are going to discuss lesson number 9, The Man Who Knew Infinity, Srinivasan Ramanujan, from your class 10 English course book. So, before we begin our discussion, let me first tell you briefly about Ramanujan. So, Ramanujan is considered to be one of the greatest mathematical geniuses the world has ever seen. And he was an orthodox Hindu Brahmin, and he was a firm believer of God. His fame is known worldwide. In fact, a famous American biographer named Robert Carnegie, he wrote a biography of Ramanujan titled The Man Who Knew Infinity. And a movie was also produced based on the biography that he had written. Now, without further ado, let's start our discussion. So, Srinivasan Ramanujan, he was born on 22nd December 1887 in Erode, Tamil Nadu, to a Brahmin family. His father, K. Srinivasan Iyengar, he worked as a clerk in a retail shop. His father used to work as a clerk. And his mother, her name was Komala Tamal, and she was a housewife and she used to sing in a local temple. They lived in a traditional home in Kumbakonam. Kumbakonam hariba mafam sida ko sigi traditional oiba yum ama khakta makhoise leirami. Now this house has been converted into a museum. Aduga sida museum sida huzik pawba letters, then certificates, then descriptions of mathematical results. Mayam ama display ta ko mathematics pu thawai yauzaba mi mayam na huzik pawba dum chalaga visit tawraga yengba yana bagidamakta ko. So during the time when Ramanujan was born, there was an outbreak of smallpox. Smallpox, it will be accompanied by high fever, then skin rashes, and it is a very deadly disease. Aduna kamain tawre, thousands of children died, including Ramanujan's own younger brother. In fact, Ramanujan also suffered from smallpox, but luckily he recovered. Then what happened was his mother took him to his maternal home due to the outbreak, and after relocating back and forth from his paternal house to his maternal house, finally Ramanujan settled in Kumbakonam. Moigi se paternal house ta muglaiba, then paternal house na Kumbakonam moiduini, then maternal house na haidi mamarom gi mapam sina ko Madras talai duine ba Kanchipuram gi ko. Then so Kanchipuram dagi back and forth Kumbakonam sira sumaina laithok leisin tawraga. Finally, Ramanujan settled in Kumbakonam. Ramanujan shared a very close relation with his mother. He learned to sing religious songs from her, and he strictly followed the Brahmin culture and stick to vegetarian food. He was a complete vegetarian. Non-veg pot amta chade ko adudana mase vegetarian oiki Ramanujan se ko. Now let's discuss about Ramanujan's high school and college life. After passing his primary examination in 1892 from a local school, Ramanujan learned formal mathematics for the first time in Town Higher Secondary School. Town Higher Secondary School sida masi enrolled tawre, and he was only 10 years during that time. But within a year, what he did was he exhausted all the mathematical knowledge, not only of his own standard, but also up to the college standard. He mastered advanced trigonometry, then sophisticated theorems completely mastered. Masina mathematics ra suki matik magi interest laiba ko manasigi subjects amna pamjaba ama oikiba na maram oiraga ko. Then what happened was, during his college days, Ramanujan focused only in mathematics. So he failed on other subjects. On most of the other subjects, he failed since he was concentrating only in mathematics. Mathematics to tang mazi angkasira tang focus tawraga leire atopa subjects in to di mazi ignore tawreba. So he left college without a degree, and he started his own independent research in mathematics. Then Ramanujan got married to Janaki Amal on 14th July 1909. But he suffered from an abnormal swelling soon after his marriage. Swelling soon after his marriage, he suffered from abnormal suffering. But his family was in extreme poverty, due to which he couldn't even afford to do the operation. So he suffered in pain. But finally, it was done only when a surgeon volunteered to do the operation for free. Se extreme poverty da laiba maramna ko ngasagi surgeon amana nangi operation do ai free da tawbige na volunteer tawrakpa matam da tang ko operation do tawgi ba. Then what happened was, after his recovery, he started searching for jobs. He started looking for jobs, and he even started tutoring students. Tuition bhawba door to door chalaga ma se Madras to tuition bhawba tambi ki buko. Then while he was searching for a job at the revenue department, he met V. Ramaswamy Iyer. So let me tell you who V. Ramaswamy Iyer was. So V. Ramaswamy Iyer, he was the founder of the Indian Mathematical Society, and he was working as a deputy collector of the revenue department during that time. V. Ramaswamy Iyer was amazed by Ramanujan's extraordinary mathematical geniuses. Ramanujan gi magi marvelous oiba magi study tawraga mana research tawraga magi notebook amada compile tawraga thambane ba. Si ubasida Ramaswamy se suki matik ngakre, he don't feel like giving him a small job in the revenue department. Mana thabak macha ma pi taraga di magi talent sibu namjhallaga thambane na khanbana maram oiraga, what Ramaswamy did was, Ramaswamy sent Ramanujan with letters of introduction to his mathematician friends. Then Ramanujan got a job at the Madras Port Trust as a Class 3 Grade 4 accounting clerk. Mas accountant ki thabak ama phange ko Madras Port Trust hariba mafam sida. His mathematical works were presented to some English mathematicians such as M.J.M. Hill, then H.F. Becker, E.W. Hobson. But they viewed the mathematical works and research of Ramanujan with hesitation. As we have discussed earlier, Ramanujan didn't have a college degree. College degree due to lack of educational qualification, they viewed this Ramanujan's work with hesitation. In fact, M.J.M. Hill even goes to the extent of saying that Ramanujan's paper were riddled with holes. Habidi papers da kai gumba holes mayamama lai taraga di ko akoina comprehend taw ngamde da ko adugumba ni Ramanujan gi paper se na bo comment taw M.J.M. Hill sinako. Then what happened was, a remarkable thing happened in the history of mathematics in 1913. Ramanujan didn't give up. Even though his works were rejected by various other English mathematicians, he never gave up. So he sent a 10-page letter containing about 120 mathematical statements and theorems to G.H. Hardy. Let me tell you who G.H. Hardy was. G.H. Hardy was a well-known English mathematician of that time. So Hardy was fascinated by the statements and theorems, and he knew, he was able to recognize that Ramanujan was an extraordinary talent. And after consulting with his colleagues, G.H. Hardy came to the conclusion that whatever results or whatever theorems that Ramanujan presented in his paper must be true. Because if it was not true, then nobody would have that kind of imagination to invent them. Haibadi magi theorems mayamdo. So idana makichu mamani maramdi laitaba pot ama mi kanamtagi kok na lamba imagination na lamba phangdaba oigani aduna Ramanujan na piriba mathematical results mayam theorems mayam do it must be true na G.S. Hardy na conclude tawgre. So what happened was, G.S. Hardy approved Ramanujan's letter and he invited Ramanujan to Cambridge University in England. So in this way, Ramanujan went to England in 1914 and he spent nearly 5 years in Cambridge collaborating with Hardy. He worked together with Hardy for 5 years. Now let's discuss his life and remarkable achievements in Cambridge. Cambridge tamagi mana kai achievement phangi ko mana kamina spend tauge habidugi maramda. Now let's discuss about it. So Ramanujan became a fellow of the Royal Society in 1918. He was the second Indian to receive the honor, and he also became the first Indian to be elected as fellow to Trinity College, Cambridge in the same year. But unfortunately, Ramanujan's health deteriorated because he was staying far away from home in a foreign country. Then he was obsessively involved with mathematics. He was not even taking care of his health. Mathematics ira sukimatik mase focus tawraga laibani na mase chani thakani mase care lauzani do khangdaba ko obsessively involved tawbadagi nebo ko. Then the stress and strain means the work pressure which is accompanied with his job also probably contribute to his worsening health ko magi job to magi work pressure mayam leibaduna su ko magi health se perhaps it also contributed in deterioration of his health. Then the next reason is as we have mentioned earlier, Ramanujan is a vegetarian. So he visited England in 1914. So what does it collided with? Yes, it collided with the First World War, and he stayed in England till 1918. Habidi mana lady base ko ngasagi World War I sigi period siga collide taweba. So during the war there was scarcity of vegetarian food. So these were some of the reasons ngasagi Ramanujan ki health se deteriorate tawrakpagi maram gaine base kisina ko. Then he was diagnosed with tuberculosis and severe vitamin deficiency. Chaba thakba watlamni na masana vitamin deficiency narani kaigino sida koina phangiba vitamins mayam side koina chariba food sidagi phangakpanina ko. Then what happened was he was confined to a sanatorium. Sanatorium medica haba matam it is a hospital where person who needs rest and care can stay, and at the same time they will receive treatment. So Ramanujan was confined to a sanatorium. Then after the war, Ramanujan came back to India in 1919, but he passed away the following year, that is in 1920, and he was only 32 years old. Now let us discuss Ramanujan's contribution in the field of mathematics. Ramanujan developed relations between elliptic modular equations in 1910. Elliptic modular equations haitaragadi algebraic equations kumbasi oidoini ko. But his most remarkable contribution was the formula of the number of partitions of n. Number of partitions of n adika have a matamsida positive integer ama akoina kayarak thokna partition tauba yage habasinebo ko unrestricted partition of n haitarde. For example, let's take the number 5. 5 habase akoina 2 plus 1 plus 2 haraga su akoina kano semdokpa yai natraga 2 plus 3 haraga su yai tanako aduna sigi formula sisu mana develop tawbirambani, and it was his most remarkable contribution. Then his development of the number theory led to major development in this field. Then not only this, he also compiled nearly 3,900 mathematical theorems along with their results. He also made remarkable contributions to the analytical theory of numbers, elliptic functions, continued fractions, and infinite series. In honor of his remarkable contributions, on 22nd December 2012, the then Prime Minister of India, Dr. Manmohan Singh, declared 22nd December as National Mathematics Day. And the same year, Haidimagi 125th birth anniversary taba year do, 2012 se, was also observed as the National Mathematics Year. Now, this 22nd December is celebrated as Ganit. Ganit have a acronym niko. Magi full form se kaino hai taragadi growing aptitude in numerical innovations and training hai banebo. So with this, we have come to the end of this lesson. Let's do a quick revision of the important points before we wind up the class. So as we have seen, Ramanujan is one of the greatest mathematical genius, and he made remarkable contributions in this field. Though he belonged to a very humble family, and though he suffered health problems all throughout his life, he never gave up. He faced all the struggles in his life, and he became the Fellow of the Royal Society in 1918 and was also elected as Fellow to Trinity College. Likewise, we should face all the hurdles in our life. We must work with our fullest ability to achieve our goal. There will be hurdles in our life, but we must overcome them. Then only we will emerge to be successful. So that's all for this chapter. Thank you, everyone.